Welcome along to another video. I am That Cycling Chimp, and in this one my route is going to consist of a 65-kilometre round trip on the west coast of Scotland. I'm inviting every one of you that's watching this to stick around and keep me company on this solo adventure to a place that I've never cycled before in my life. I'm going to test and push myself to the limit, and I'm going to try the 3 Ferries challenge. So if you want to know a little bit more and see how I got on today, or maybe you're new to the channel and you would just like to see Scotland by bike, you've came to the right place. So stick around, grab yourself a cuppa, kick back and relax, and let's get the show on the road. Today's adventure, we are starting off at the Victorian train station of Wemyss Bay, situated in Firth of Clyde on the west coast of Scotland. I brought along the Green Hornet today because I think I'm going to need it with the mileage that we're doing. I did genuinely think about doing this in the Brompton because that would have been even more of a challenge, but it's the first time I've ever done this route before, so I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what I was riding with and what I was riding on. Today's route, we're going to start off at Wemyss Bay and take the Cowal ferry service across to the Isle of Bute. From there, I'm going to cycle north up to Rhubodach and then take the second ferry of the day across to Colintraive. Once I get to Colintraive, I'm then going to cycle east across the Cowal Peninsula until I get down to Dunoon, where I'll take the third ferry of the day back to Gourock. From Gourock, I'll cycle down through Lunderston Bay and back to Wemyss Bay. All in, it says 80 kilometres, but it's actually only 65 kilometres of cycling because you're taking in a little bit of the ferry journey as well. As always, if you want to try this route out, the commute link will be down in the description below. So if you want to try it out, you can always try it. Anyway, I'm all set up and ready to go. I just need to go and catch this ferry now. I actually got a little bit of time before the ferry comes because I'm taking the 10 o'clock ferry across. So I get to explore the station a little bit just before we get ready to go on. Now apparently Wemyss Bay was given an award for the World Cup of Stations in 2023. Now that's a fact I didn't know. But one of the interesting things is they've actually got a timeline in the history of the station all the way back to when it was opened. Right up to 2017. There really is some lovely murals that's been painted in the station as well. Down there is the ticket office and the waiting room if you're going to be just a walk-on passenger. But because we're taking the bike today, we've got to go on with the cars. So we better go and get sorted out. It also looks as if a busload of tourists have come in, so it's going to be quite busy on this. So just looking across there now, we can see Wemyss Bay train station. And up there on the hill is the Wemyss Bay holiday park. Now, if you've watched my Brisbane Glen video, you would have seen I come through that the last time. We will be coming back through that later on because I'll be using some of the route that I've already used before for this one. Conditions this morning, just as we're leaving Wemyss Bay, doesn't look too favourable. It's very overcast. There's actually a bit of a chill in the air as well, so I'm hoping the sun will maybe burn some of that off. Well, that's the forecast anyway. I'm going to go and see if I can find myself a seat, and I'll see you guys when I get to the Isle of Bute. Well, that's the easy bit done and the first ferry out of the way. Now, I've landed in the town of Rothesay on the Isle of Bute, and I'm going to cycle 8 miles north towards Rhubodach. Then I'm going to take the second ferry across to Colintraive. If you've watched previous videos on the Isle of Bute, it's a really nice island to come and cycle, especially in the summertime if you get an absolutely cracking day. If you get it in a nice day, it's just one of the best rides you'll ever had. Trust me on that one. So, let's clip in and see how today goes. Yep, you've seen that correctly. I am in full shorts today. As I said in the boat, it was quite chilly coming over, but the sun is trying to break through those clouds and it might actually get quite warm when I'm on the Cowal Peninsula. Looking across just now, I can see some of the hills and the cloud is quite low, but we're still a wee bit away before we get there. I'm not even 2 kilometres into the ride and we have a special guest already. It's that yellow thing up in the sky. I'm just wondering how long he's going to stay out for, because it does look very overcast over in the hills. I'm definitely feeling a lot stronger on the bike today. The last time I was out on it, because I've been riding the Brompton so much, it was just a completely different ride, a completely different feeling. But when I was out, I'd noticed that there was a clicking sound coming from a front wheel. So I popped into ACS and I got Baz to take a look, and it was just needing some new brake pads. So I installed my new brake pads the other day, done a little test run, and they're really good. I've got 7 climbs according to Climb Pro in the Garmin Hair unit as well. 1 or 2 of them are, yeah, I would say they're monsters, but we'll see what it's like. I'm not doing the traditional 3 ferries route that everybody talks about. It does incorporate most of the route, but I've added a few little surprises. Well, I hope they're surprises, because you know it wouldn't be a challenge if it was easy. And we've literally just hit the first hill as we've come out of Port Bannatyne. It's an easy one, but it's only 615 metres. That was the first one smashed in less than 2 minutes. Nice little leg warmer. As I said, this is the first time that I've been this way on the Isle of Bute, and straight away the scenery is absolutely jaw-dropping. Now, I've often wondered why it's called the Isle of Bute, and I've done a little bit of internet sleuthing, and it could be because of the old Irish word boot. Not as in like a shoe boot, but to translate that into English, it means fire. And that could be quite apt, because a long time ago, when the Vikings were invading Scotland, quite a lot of the islands round about used to light fires or beacons to let the next island know that the Vikings were coming. So even though the Isle of Bute, I always thought it was because it was that beautiful, it might just be known as the Isle of Fire. I prefer that. Now across the water there is the Rhubodach to Colintraive ferry. It's actually sitting over in Colintraive just now, but it won't be long till it comes back over. Now, I'm led to believe this is the shortest ferry crossing in Scotland by Cowal. It's 410 metres from the Isle of Bute back onto the mainland, well, the Cowal Peninsula. Some people say that the trip takes less than 3 minutes. I suppose we're just about to find out. It's definitely a nice little cycle from Rothesay up here. I think I've seen 2 cars, and I think these 2 cars are going to go into the ferry with me. But it's definitely a nice little warm-up before we get into the meaty stuff across this water. Now, I need to go and get my ticket scanned and get ready to go on. It really is how unbelievably short that crossing is. The guy that scanned my ticket said it would be about 20 minutes before we were sailing across to Colintraive. We're just waiting on the ferry getting filled at the other side to come back over. But the weather is starting to get a lot better. There's hardly any wind at this point, and the sun is starting to come out back and forward as well, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be cooking pretty soon. Just to see how quick this crossing is going to be, I'm going to time it on the stopwatch on my phone. It's absolutely ridiculous the amount of time that took to come over there. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's got to be the fastest ferry I've ever been on. This is now at Colintraive, and we're going to start heading towards Dunoon. So there's 22 miles until we get there. So let's see how we get on the Cowal Peninsula. Apparently, this is Argyll's secret coast. So let's see what's secret about it. Whew. I didn't expect that little ascent just to come off the ferry, and that's not one of the climbs at all. Just before I got onto the ferry, I met a man, and he was a keen cyclist, and he'll know who it is when I say, because it's the guy that owned the Shand bike. He'd asked if I'd done this route before, and I'd said this was the first time, and he said that the route that I'm taking, I'm going to need plenty of motivation when we get into the hills. So, for my motivational music today, I'm listening to the brand new album from Ghost, Skeletor. I just can't get enough of it. It's a really, really good album. It's just recently been released from all good record stores and digital devices. Apparently I'm taking the coastal route all the way around till we get to the National Cycle Network 75. But the first place I'm stopping is here. That down there is the Kyles of Bute. Now, there's a little bit overcast, but it looks absolutely spectacular. I'm presuming away down at the bottom there, that'll be Port Bannatyne or Rothesay, one of the two. It's just amazing, a short ferry journey, and you're basically transported to a completely different topography than what you would be if you were cycling round about Ayrshire. And I think this little guy is a little bit interested in what's going on. So that's us into the first real climb of the day. I've got 118 metres of ascent and it's 2.5 kilometres. And it does look as if it's going to be quite a hard one to crack. But let's see how we got on. Woo! It's certainly showed me who's boss today. Jeez, oh. That was climb 2 of 7 done. Yes, I'm starting to heat up pretty quickly. 13 minutes and 37 seconds. Not too bad. But, as I always said, whoever goes up must come down. Whew. There's absolute ridiculous speeds coming down that hill there. I don't understand either. It's the National Cycle Network 75. Yeah, it seems to be busier than Sauchiehall Hall Street with cars down it. Then again, I think maybe quite a lot of cars are getting diverted because there's 1 or 2 roads closed. That might make a bit of sense. I'm just about to hit climb 3, which is going to be just over 3 kilometres. And again, it's another 133 metre ascent, so it's not too high. Although there is one red bit in my Climb Pro that looks pretty hard. But we'll see how we get on. I'm just getting my heart rate down a little bit before I start again. The scenery is absolutely spectacular when you're looking behind you, but I just don't think the camera can justify the views that you're seeing. Now let's go. Climb 3. It's definitely keeping a pace with me. Whew. This might be the hilliest ride I've ever done before. It's nearly as brutal as the Black Lock or the String. The last 400 metres of this climb, it's brutal. The biggest annoyance, you would think on a day like this, that's out with any holidays, the road would have been absolutely empty. And I'm not saying it's busy, but it's a lot busier than some of the routes that I've done before. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit slower than the cars, so I need to pull in at the passing places to let them pass. That's climb 3 done, 15 minutes and 24 seconds. That's not too bad. Looking at it, we're not too far away, then we're going into climb 4. I suppose this is all good hill climbing training for me for Bealach na Ba. Now we've hit a little issue. My radar has just ran out of battery. It was fully charged before I come out, so I don't understand why is cut out just now, but battery is completely dead and it's disconnected. So now I'm going to have to rely on my mirror to check what's coming behind me. As I said at the beginning of the video, there was going to be a little bit of a surprise. Since it's gravel season, and I've not really done a gravel adventure yet, when I was curating the map, I decided I wanted to do a little bit of gravel when I was over here. So that's what we're heading to next. Instead of taking the NCN 75 all the way around to Dunoon, I'm going to make my way through Glen Kin and then come into Dunoon at the bottom, quite close to the ferry terminal. But there is a couple of things I want to go and see in Dunoon, so stick around for that. I've done roughly about 35 kilometres now, so I'm going to stop, have something quick to eat before I start taking on some of the off-road and chunky stuff. Well, that's me had my little snack and I'm ready to go. It's been raining quite heavily by the looks of things over here, so I'm wondering what this is going to be like off-road. Hopefully it'll be a little bit less dangerous than it is on the actual road that we've just been on. And it's quite good that I'm going off-road just now, because with my radar not working at the back, I don't know what's coming up behind me as such, so probably best that I'm coming off the road for a little while. So once again, I'm ready to clip in and make my descent down to Dunoon. This might be some questionable gravel today. And you know, when watching the Chimp, he doesn't take gravel lightly. He likes the rough stuff. And in 91 metres time, we're going to hit climb 4. Which looks quite tasty and interesting. It looks like quite good gravel, to be fair. Right, let's have at you then. Yep, I would definitely say this is a grade 2 gravel. It's hard packed, but it can be a bit shaly in points. It's a nice path anyway. I've got about 1.5 kilometres to go to get to the end, and 82 metres of climbing. We're getting there. It's definitely a lung tickler anyway. Then again, I'm hitting 11% gradient at the moment. It looks as if that big yellow thing in the sky is making another appearance, which is always fun when you're climbing. This makes you even warmer. One thing I will say, wee man's absolutely loving it. Now that, away down there, is the Clyde, and I'm on the opposite side of it. You can actually see Gourock very, very slightly. I don't know if it'll translate to the camera well because of all the kind of haze it's about today. But, I mean, just look at this when you get to the top. Just absolutely fantastic views. And it's overcast today. I'd love to see this. I would absolutely love to see this when it's clear. And then you turn the corner, the gravel goes from a grade 2 to a grade 3 and slams you into climb 5 of 7 of the day. Oh, it's only a wee one, but it looked worse from far away. That was definitely a little bit more technical than I thought it was going to be. It's still a good descent. It's quite a decent bit of gravel, that. Still got a little bit of ways to go, but when I've stopped here, I can see that we're just about to get into Dunoon, obviously from the back, but looking straight down there is the Firth of Clyde. And if you've ever heard when people used to go down the water, they're meaning down the water, and that's exactly where they used to go, down to places like Largs, Millport, Arran, and obviously all the way down the Ayrshire coast. I'll continue my descent into Dunoon. We'll stop off and have a little look at one or two things. Then we'll catch the third and final ferry back across to the mainland, even though technically we are still on the mainland just now. And then we'll cycle from Gourock back down to Wemyss Bay. I would say it's been quite an enjoyable ride today. One or two little bits I wasn't too keen on, especially in the NCN 75 where we were coming through, but that was just due to closed roads. I'm pretty sure it's quiet at other times of the year. I'm presuming it's going to be that little gravel path I'm going down. So let's get past this gate that's in front of me and get down. Oh, lovely. Welcome to Dunoon. I'm right next to what are the ruins of Dunoon Castle, but we'll get to that in a little second. Just stopped at the pier, and I've got the table of distances from Dunoon Pier. It shows you everything there. I'm not looking for any distances there. What I'm looking for is a certain statue that's within the castle ruin grounds. So let's go and investigate. Now behind me there, up there on the hill, is a statue. And can any of you name who the statue is? That up there is Highland Mary. Now Highland Mary is quite significant because she apparently had an affair with Robert Burns. Now, when Mary passed away at the age of 23, it was suspected she was with child. Whether or not that was Robert Burns' child is left to be known. She was buried in Gourock, but the statue was erected here because she was actually from Dunoon. But it just goes to show you how far and wide Robert Burns' influence actually was, especially in Scotland. But now, I need to go and see if I can find somebody that's employed by Cowal, because it looks as if the ferry's been cancelled. And I'm wondering if I maybe need to get the western ferries back, which is at the other side. So let's go and have a look. Well, that's not so bad. I managed to speak to one of the employees for Cowal, and they say it's a passenger only ferry and it's coming its way. It's just a mega early and it's on its way from Gourock. So thank God for that. I had a little bit of a panicking moment there, thinking I'd commuted myself and stranded myself on the Cowal Peninsula. But we'll see how we got on anyway. Still got a wee while to go. Well, that's me back onto the mainland and into the town of Gourock. Now going to travel down Lunderston Bay, back to Wemyss Bay and back to base camp. But I do understand why people go wild for Argyll. It's an absolute great place to cycle. Lunderston Bay. Now the last time I cycled through here a couple of weeks back, and it's on one of my other videos, well, there's very little of it because it really was busy. It's a great kind of path I put right next to the coast that takes you off the road. So I thought I'd show you a little bit more of the area. So across the water there is just where we've came from, Dunoon. As I said, this is a smashing little trail when it's not busy. And one of the things I did notice when I was coming along this the last time, there's a mobile sauna. Now there seems to be quite a lot of these saunas popping up all along the coast, and I take it it's all to do with the cold plunging in that water. And it's not for me. I can assure you it's not for me. Now the last time I was here, I was getting a lot of problems with my GoPro, so there was a lot of this that wasn't filmed. I'm just about to hit climb 6 of 7 today, and this one's an absolute doozy. It's pretty hard going. It's through a new housing estate in Inverkip. As I said, it takes you up and along. Definitely gets the blood pumping. A lot of people that watched that video where I was doing this, they said, oh, you can go down the A78, but I'd rather pull in some more climbs for training. Plus, it gets pretty monotonous when you've got cars right up behind you all the time. Aye, climb 6 or 7 smashed. Thing is, these hills, they don't get any easier. You just get a little bit quicker getting up them. Oh, I've got one more climb to do, and I know it's not a big one. I'm just about to head into another little gravel path. The last and final climb of the day, climb 7. Just a gentle 20-metre ascent and 678 metres to get up it. Thought this would have dried out a little bit. And the last time I was here, still a bit boggy looking. Get in. That's the last climb done of the day. Pulled a good shift today with all those climbs, especially over in the Cowal Peninsula. But we're not too long until we get back to base camp. The thing I am looking forward to is my wee rolling ham. I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. There's only so much rubbish you can eat when you're on the bike. And sometimes you've really just got to get some real food into you. Well, that's us got to the end of yet another video. Just want to thank you all for sticking around and keeping me company in this one. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. There was quite a lot of good cycling in the Cowal Peninsula, and I'll definitely be returning, maybe with a slightly altered route. If you did like it, give me a huge thumbs up, and if you really liked it, consider subscribing, because it's your subscribing that keeps the chimp rolling and riding, and you do not understand how much it means to me when you hit that button. You can also hit the notification bell, and that will tell you when the next adventure is up, so you don't miss another exciting episode. Hope to see you all in the next one. In the meantime, you can check out my last video up there, or you can check out previously on That Cycling Chimp, which are archive videos. I'm just about to take in the lethal descent back down to Wemyss Bay. So until the next time, guys, bye for now, and remember to pedal smart out there.